Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the 5 o'clock shadow. We are supposed to be talking with R.H. Snow about her, I think it's novel or novels that are on Fun My Comic, Watcher of the Damned. But she's not yet here in the Discord.
Oh, yes, I am. Can
Oh,
you hear?
oh, yeah, okay, I hear you now.
Do you want to see a face, or are you too afraid? I mean, it's up to you.
Well, it's up to you. It doesn't matter to me one way or another. And I'll let people uh, um, do that
Let's find
filtering.
out. Let's find out what we're doing here. Let's see. Does that look
Yeah,
okay?
that looks great. And
I just, I just got here. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta put my glasses. I'm a nerd. I have my little glasses, and
oh, no
oh,
problem. And as I see by your handle on Discord here, it's Rosa, right?
yes, actually, it's Rebecca.
Or Rebecca.
And Rosa de Oro is actually the entity I created for Watcher of the Damned, since I was self publishing and I have an LLC. Because of my business model, I was like, you know what, I need to go ahead and have something for that. And so everything is set up under Rosa de Oro, which actually shows up on the in the book as well. And it's not only as the publishing entity, but also as the name of a character in the book. So
Okay.
it's Rosa de Oro. So it references the yellow rose of Texas, which
Okay.
means rose of gold in Espanol. So it's wonderful to see you. How are you doing
Good,
today?
good, good. It's been a while, especially since I've been on
I
TNQ. And
I know. I'm so excited. I'm so excited you have Canadian Shield behind you. I backed Canadian Shield. Yeah, bro.
yeah.
And so
Well,
I was so
if
proud
I
of your work
remember,
with that.
if I remember, you just got the Snowdrift one.
Yes, I did. I did.
Did you
And so
enjoy
I
it?
got that one. I loved it. Anything Canadian. I'm a huge fan.
Uh,
Used to live in Idaho,
uh,
and so in fact lived in Nez Perce, Idaho, which is really not too far from the border.
yeah,
And so and we had a lot of friends up there, and so I was like, yeah, it's something about Canada. I'm gonna back at the show. So this idea.
yeah. That is cool. Yeah, I'm actually gonna be going through Texas in a couple weeks. I'm
Will
going.
you really?
I'm going down to California. There's a Christian Comic Con going on there.
Ah, right.
Called Alpha Omega Con. I'm gonna be staying with Dillard for about
Oh,
4 days. And
oh
well,
my
we go through Texas.
yeah.
I'm taking a bus there and back, and it goes through Texas. So
Yeah, they're probably going to the Dallas hub. Which bus are you taking?
yeah, Greyhound. Between two, Flick Bus and Greyhound. I think they're interconnected.
Yes, and I've driven on a bus all the way to Florida at one time. It's
Yeah,
like for an event which will not be disclosed here, but it was all Christian. Don't worry, but
yeah,
it was a big deal, and I took it in the middle of the night, and so it was a 3 day trip. But it's
yeah,
fun on the bus if you do it right, and you just learn to appreciate each area and the people that are in it,
yeah,
and sit close to the bus terminal. It's a really nice place, but
yeah.
you get to go. You'll probably be going through Dallas. I think that's where you're going to
Oh
connect it.
yeah, yeah. I'm going through Dallas. Well, I'm hitting a few different places. Dallas. I'm actually at the Dallas bus station for like over 3 hours. Hey, JR, Devil Flyer. But yeah, I'm in the Dallas bus station for 3 hours and 10 minutes. So it's like,
Oh my gosh. Okay, then let me know what day you're going to be there, and if I have somebody in the area. I'm not in Dallas. I'm from there,
yeah, yeah,
but I'm not in Dallas. But
yeah.
I'll have somebody go up and say hi to you.
I get there. I think on the 12th at like 9:50 at night, and I'm there till like just go past midnight.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's wild. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a big city, but it's a beautiful city. And
yeah,
like I said, I've been that bus terminal a number of times. It
yeah.
can be a little different, but it also is like every other bus terminal in the country. You just have to, pick pick and choose what you love, and stick
Yeah.
close when you things that make you a little bit nervous or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's any city has that nowadays, and so
Yeah.
I love Dallas. It's one of my favorite
Yeah.
places.
I sort of did the same trip before a few years ago. Went down to the same con. Although
Oh,
I didn't know Dillard at the time, so I wasn't staying with him. I
uh,
stayed in L.A. itself at a
oh
at,
wow.
at a paid hostel, so it was like 10-15 bucks a night. So
Oh, that's not bad at all.
And then of course that's American money.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Oh, that's
But
great.
still, it wasn't too bad. The only big problem with the hostel was, I snore, and some of the people in there didn't really like that.
Oh my gosh, you're a
So,
dude. You're gonna snore. I have never known a man who didn't snore.
they wake me up just to tell me I snore. It's like I
You're
can't,
snoring. You're snoring.
I can't do anything about that. Like leave me alone.
It's really hard. It's really hard. I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, since I'm old, I know what that's like. It's like when you get old, you snore. It's one of those things that happens.
But yeah, when I went down, I didn't go as much through Texas last time I went down.
Uh-huh.
It was just like a sliver up near the one of the peaks of it. One of the I
Oh,
forget.
okay. You probably went to Amarillo then.
Yeah, I think that was it. What it was,
Yeah.
Amarillo.
Now you may be going to Amarillo this time. Now, if that's the case, if you went on the bus,
Yeah,
it's possible that you'll trade off because you might go directly west
yeah.
from Amarillo, and it'll
No,
follow Route 66.
I'm not going through Amarillo this time because last time, like I said, I went to L.A. proper.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
this time I'm going to Riverside, uh, which
Oh
is where Dillard is, John
yeah.
Dillard. So it's a slight different detour. So they detour the bus a little bit, or your
Oh,
direction.
you're gonna have fun. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
great trip.
But yeah, it
Get
was
ready.
a real good trip. Last time I remember, just enjoying the sights and all that. I sleep a lot on the butt in moving vehicles too. So, although yeah, I can't sleep for 3 days straight. So,
Yeah. I can't.
but
I can't.
but oh, I know what my point was about that. I went through Las Vegas the last time,
Oh
and
woo!
I did well for actually, 2 times I left the terminal when I had to wait. One was in Los Angeles on my way there. I just went down the street to a casino to spend a little bit of money to say I went into a casino and did a little bit of gambling. I spent like
Oh my god!
I spent like $2 and won four.
Did you really? And the whole point is to quit while you're ahead. And I should have learned that. I actually did. I went to L.A. one time. It was 20 years ago. It was for I was writing for a big company. Actually, I was writing for a large internet company at the time. And so they had a convention, and I was like, I'd never been to Las Vegas. We drove. I love driving. I think it's a lot of fun. It was
Yeah,
one of my favorite down road trip. And so we drove all the way on Old Route 66 and did all that cool stuff and went through, the painted desert and everything.
yeah,
So I got to LA and I was a little bit lost and I'd never gambled. I've never done anything like that. So I was like, I got to gamble. So
yeah,
my husband gave me $5 in nickels and said, go for it. I made it last almost 6 hours. I got $45 ahead at one point, and I was just playing slots. All I did was play the same slot over and over again. I never did anything else. And when I quit, I ran out of nickels. I played until I ran out of nickels. I just wanted to do that, and so I played until I ran out of nickels. And then when I turned and walked away, I heard the ska-ching, and I was like, and it was somebody else had sat down right after me. And I was like, don't look back. You just don't look back.
yeah,
That's all you do. Don't look back. Just walk away.
yeah,
And my family is we're really a very addictive. We have addictive personalities in my family. And my mother always told me, don't start gambling. You will never. You at least if you're drinking, you can lose everything and you can go to jail. But if you're gambling, you can lose everything, go to jail, and lose everything else that everybody else has. You can lose your house. And I was like,
yeah,
holy cow! So
yeah,
so I wasn't really careful ever since then. But yeah, that was the only time I gambled. So I made it last for 6 hours on nickel. Just nickel.
yeah. Well, I didn't have a lot of time, so I made sure I got out of there. I didn't want to miss my bus. Like I had like about an hour in Los Angeles, so it's like, okay,
Oh,
go down the street, do a little bit, say I've done it, and get out of there before it takes a hold. But I can see how it could be addicting. Like I did sort of the same thing as you did. I did a nickel machine, digital, and then I went to I did a poker machine, and I won at the nickel machine, but lost at the poker machine.
I think they actually kind of know that the way it's set up. The house always wins. And they win based on just the fact that the law of averages are you're going to lose.
Yeah,
And of course, things are sort of set up that way too. We're not accusing anybody of cheating. We're just saying that they sort of set it up in favor of the house.
yeah,
And so yeah, they know you're going to win a little bit and you'll get feeling pretty, good about life if you win at something at nickel slots. And so you get a little bit ahead and you go, I'm going to go spend this $50 at, so either way, they're getting your money.
yeah, Yeah,
You
and
never
like
bet
I
more
said,
than you're willing to lose.
yeah,
That's all.
like I said, I spent a buck on the nickels. I won $4
Mhm.
on that, and then I went and spent another buck on the poker stuff and lots. So it's like spent two, won four.
You did okay. You came out a dollar ahead. If everything
Well,
was like that,
I
life
came out two
would be fine.
dollars ahead. But
Oh,
the
that's right. Yeah.
the most I've ever bought, like I've bought in lottery tickets before, so you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
so that's that's not quite the same thing as going into casino and spending money, and I
It's
can see how it could get addictive to somebody really easily.
well, that was my mom. My mother started when they first started the Texas lottery, and okay, so we're Baptist, and so we can't drink. We do. I don't drink because of my family history, and so I'm really careful because I understand what that is for us. And I was like, I grew up around it, and I'm like, you know what? I know that demon's going to come after me, and other people can drink. They can put it down. They're great. That's our
Yeah,
kryptonite. We're special fairies in my family, and we can't drink. So, but we can gamble. We can gamble. And since my mother was like, "Oh, never gamble because you're going to lose everything," it was a big deal when the lottery came out. Well,
yeah,
she took out the birthday numbers and she played one time, and she never stopped until they changed the formula. And it was birthdays. It was like six numbers all the way across, and she picked three of her birthdays. And I was like, she said she could never stop because she knew if one of those numbers came up ever, she would feel bad that she hadn't played the numbers. So when they changed the formula, and it was like years later, she would faithfully go and she'd buy this thing because she felt like she had to because she had the numbers. And when they changed the formula and added in that seventh number, she quit. She was like, I can't do this. I feel so overwhelmed by the idea that if I don't play, something bad will happen. And
right,
so that was proof to me. I was like, yeah, I can tell. That's
yeah,
us. That's us in a nutshell. We feel like we have to do it. There's that obsessive, that OC feeling, that obsessive compulsive feeling. You've got to do it, or something
yeah,
bad will happen. And so I'm intimately aware with that feeling. So I'm like, yeah, we're really careful with that kind of stuff in our family, but it can be fun. I
yeah,
think that's why I love gaming so much. I love it because it's like gambling, but if you're doing it with, especially on the old style stuff, my PS3, I had the disc, so I didn't have to pay for any sort of upgrade, anything like that, unless I wanted to.
yeah,
And so you get a chance to you gamble basically. Especially if you're playing New Vegas, you can go in and gamble all day. I am just
yeah,
crushed because my PS3 finally died.
yeah,
I mean, it died hard.
yeah.
It took all my games with it, and I had everything on there. And I refuse to buy a system that will not let me have my disc. So I am in the market for a PS3 if anybody's got one,
Well,
because I'm like desperate to play
even
New
with the
Vegas.
even with the PS4 and PS5, you can still buy discs for it. It's just it's just
Shut you down though. They can shut you down from online, and I'm like, nah, I don't want that. Y'all get all red. I don't want that.
uh,
I want my game.
yeah. I had the ColecoVision. I had the blackjack poker cartridge for it. So
It's fun.
that gives a little bit of my age. Although most of the people on my channel know my age. Although I don't look it. I'm 50.
You baby. You're not even. I'm shoes older than you. I said, oh, I'm 60 years old. I'm this. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am that many.
Oh,
And so
well, you're
I've
about
been around.
10 years older than me, so
Yeah, I'm 10 years older than you,
but
buddy. So I know it.
you don't look 60 either.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. That's when you know you're old. When somebody goes, you only look like you're in your 40s. And normally you'd be like, instead you're like, yes, that's like 20 years younger. I'm good. So I'm cool with that. But yeah, the gaming thing for me is where that really, that gambling instinct sort of comes out, where it's like, taking the chances, taking the risk, but you can go back and replay it on most games.
Yeah,
You can go, and I do that. I know, I guess what they call it, scamming or whatever, to go, and I would literally go to the checkpoint on Halo. I would get just that far, save it, and I would go all the way back to the next one to try to get the better result. And I did that a bunch in Fallout because I wanted to start. I tried to play all the endings in Fallout, and it was really hard because playing a chaotic evil character for me is so hard.
yeah,
And so many people have buildings and stuff. I'm not good at that. I cannot to this day, and I love the idea of Grand Theft Auto. I cannot play it because I'm a terrible player at Grand Theft Auto. I
yeah,
can't go slap a hoe or anything like that. I'm really trying to be nice, and I can't. And you try to make friends with everybody, and you really can't do that in Grand Theft Auto.
yeah,
Somebody's going to come after you. It's
yeah,
kind of that way in New Vegas too. You make friends with everybody. Eventually, it's coming back to haunt you. So
Yeah.
They're not going to let you go much further. But I like to play nice and stuff, and I'm still a sniper. I do that, but yeah,
Yeah.
that gambling is just games that allow you to take the chances and then go back and fix it.
Yeah.
I like that better. I don't like having to live with my choices forever. Which one is it that? Yeah, Minecraft is actually the one that makes you live with your choices forever. There's no save. You can't go back and just fix it. Once
Yeah.
that creeper shows up and blows up your base, it's done. I spent
Yeah.
last night fix one of my. I was on Realms with my daughter, and I was like, we and we had. I decided that I was going to throw a wither in there just because I wanted to do it. I wanted to show her what a wither was. And it wrecked my base so bad, and I can't fix it. It's like torn up so awful, and I spent so much money on this first server. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't fix it.
Yeah.
But that's the true meaning of it.
Yeah, I've played Minecraft a little. Usually not with anybody else. I do it by myself, offline or whatever. You know.
I have
Uh,
to say this: Minecraft is probably, besides Fallout 3, Minecraft is the loneliest game I've ever played. When you get out there and you're in the woods and it's just you and the creepers or whatever, even if you get your dog with you, that makes it better, or a cat or whatever. But then they're constantly at risk of being dead
yeah.
if you're playing survival, and so I'm always like scared for them, so I always like make friends and I stick them in my base and like close all the doors and put gates up and everything, and so that's what you get for being a mom, is that you want to keep everybody safe. So it's really hard to play Minecraft when you're alone. And so I like the realms because I get a chance to bring other people in and get to play a little bit and go explore stuff and try to recover your inventory if you get smacked or something. But that's the only games I can really play online because I have really spotty reception and coverage out here. I'm way out in the country, so so I don't get a chance to play online games very much. And that's the one thing I've really missed is and it's limited me as a gamer actually. Because and sort of gotten me in that mood of saying, you know what, I love the legacy games because you can play those
Yeah.
by yourself, and it's just you and the AI on the machine, and you get a chance to go all the way through it and see all the secrets and everything like that.
Yeah.
And so, and when I'm playing with somebody else, I'm really focused on trying to please the group because I don't know if you noticed, I'm kind of a people pleaser. I
Yeah.
wanted to make people happy, and so if they're wanting, hey, let's go do this, and they all jump off a cliff, well, I'll do it. I'll just go ahead and do it. And I'm Leroy Jenkins just for no reason, which is not really probably a smart way to operate. And so if people get mad at me because I screw something up, I feel really bad. So I haven't played very much online because of the internet coverage thing, and because of my personality. I'm just like, if
Well,
I make somebody mad, I cry.
sort of speaking about games, there's a new game out. Well, right now it's just a demo, the crowdfunding, and I'm actually going to have hopefully the creators on the fourth here on this thing. It's called Gate Zero. It's a Bible game.
Is it really? Okay,
Yeah,
show me. Show it to me right now. I want it.
it's on Steam. Gate Zero.
Gate Zero. Okay, so I can actually go up and I pre-order.
I'm not sure whether you can pre-order, but also they're on Indiegogo of crowdfunding it. But right now, you can check out the demo on Steam,
Oh, amazing!
and then if you want to contribute to their, crowdfunding of it,
No,
you
I
can
do.
do.
I love games.
Uh,
We had just talked about this with Royce on A Drink with Crazy about getting the gaming community involved with this, because gaming is just, there's so much of it that's falling apart right now. It's gotten into the model where you almost can't play without just like putting coins in a slot. But unlike the arcade, where at least you could get a level up and you can do that, you're competing against other people that can just go and drop $100 and win. That's what they do. There's no fun in it when it's just, hey, pay us and we'll let you win. And so it's sort of a little limiting. And to be able to see indie gamers out there actually putting these together, and Amy and Melissa Lester with Unseen Kingdom, they've got one coming out, and they're also a Christian gaming group. And I think that anything that we can do. So Gateway Zero is his name. What's the name of his company?
I'm not sure what the name of the company is, but I know the game is called Gate Zero.
Or Gate Zero. Gate
Yeah,
Zero. Okay.
like
Can you put a link in the chat for us, or something? We'll pop that up, and
yeah,
yeah, that would be fantastic.
I had them up earlier. Yeah, I have the Indiegogo right here.
Yay!
I'll put
That's
that. And yeah, I'm gonna be having people that are behind it on the 4th on here of
Yay!
October.
Is that going
So,
to be in the Discord?
well,
Are you releasing, or is it on YouTube?
no, well, this right now we are live on YouTube.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure where all we are. We're on Twitch. Or where?
Well, we're just on. I'm just on. Well, I have a Twitch account and a bunch of stuff, but
Yeah.
I use OBS to stream to YouTube, and
Wow.
I usually try to bring people on through my Discord because it's just easier. I don't have to send out an
Yeah.
invite. Anybody. Hope everybody knows they're just welcome to come on. Behave yourself. Don't be in it too much of an
Don't
idiot.
too much.
Yeah.
I'll try my best.
Well, somehow I think you won't be an idiot, and try not to swear. Swear. I know I probably don't have to worry about this from you, but just in general, it's like try not to swear. I have people on that occasionally do. Like, I'm not sure whether you know who Risey Lee is,
I've heard of him. Yeah,
but he's been on my panel before, and well,
it is really.
he's a drunk from Australia, but he's a great guy. But
I know.
usually when he's on, he's drunker than a skunk, and he tries not to
Oh,
swear, but
sorry. It's really hard because it's part of the culture right now. It's really very so much part of it, in fact, that I have a hard time because if you watch YouTube enough, you start using F-bombs. It's just one of those things. It's like,
yeah,
bah, and all of a sudden I'll find myself using it. And I'm a preacher's wife. I'm not supposed to use the F-bomb. I'm not supposed to do it. And so it's really hard because people have heard me drop that bomb, and it's usually when there's something I'm mad about. So I'm like, I'm sorry. But it's
yeah,
really hard because we get exposed so much in
yeah,
our culture now, and it's not an excuse. It's just it's a reminder of how much that exposure causes us to change our behavior.
yeah,
And to be well, there's some people that use it and it just like never doesn't bother them at all.
yeah,
And I've had military members in my family forever. I'm in the fire service. I think some of y'all know that about me, that I was a volunteer firefighter and an EMT, and there's a lot of cussing that takes place when you're fighting fires. And
yeah,
so it's really hard to switch that button. And I've been trying to switch that button in my head to say, you know what, I don't want to say this.
yeah,
Not because anybody else who does it is bad. It's just I need to be different, just in case. I need to not maybe say it just because
yeah,
maybe my church.
yeah. I get that. As when I was young, I barely swore at all, and then for about 20 or 30 years, I didn't swear a lot, but I swore a lot more than than I did as a well, not a kid, but like early 20s. But from about 30 to 40 or early 40s, I did a lot of thing. But well,
Yeah.
not usually by myself, nobody around. You know, still trying to be
Yeah.
look like the good little Christian.
Well, and we Christians, and then we're who we are, and as it says it says to refrain from coarse language because they want us to be able to speak to everyone, and God wants us to be. And there are times when
Yeah,
people we say something that'll offend them and make them feel bad, but
yeah,
people are people. Use the language they use, and in fact, when I watched Damned, one of my church members saw it. I love her so much. She was like, "It says a swear word on the front." I said, "That's in the Bible. This is scriptural. You can use the word damned and hell, but you're just not supposed to take the Lord's name in vain."
yeah,
And but I do have there's not profanity, I guess what you call it. There's what I would call mild to moderate swearing in my book, and it's because my characters will talk, and some of them are very rough men, and they will drop some words.
yeah,
I've tried to not use the F word. I'm sure it will
yeah,
come up at some point because one of my characters is going to say it. I was really fortunate that the one man who actually said, "Read the effing manual," was a family man, and he wouldn't say the F-bomb. So my character actually wouldn't have said it, but he picked it up and he says, "Read that manual," and he actually puts a euphemism in there because he knows he can't say the F-bomb.
yeah,
But yeah, my character swear, and some of them swear more than I would in a public situation.
yeah,
But it's the characters themselves, and so it's just part of whichever culture you're in.
yeah,
And in fact, when I was teaching school, I had pre-kindergartners, and they were little bitty guys, and some of them would use all sorts of cuss words. I mean, they
yeah,
would just lay out. They would say everything, and so I'd be like,
yeah,
we have work language, and we have our school language, and then we have home language. I didn't tell them, "Oh, it's bad. Your mom is a bad person," because grandma's using that word. She's probably out there just cussing like the rest of us. And so instead, we had school language and home language, and that's
Yeah.
and make
Yeah.
our language where it reflects the where we are, you know.
Yeah.
And there's times that when a flaming hay bale falls on you, sometimes you're going to say something that will not usually, and that's what happened to me one time. And actually, I didn't cuss because I was too busy trying to get out from under that hay bale while I was fighting the fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just where you are and how it fits in with the
Yeah.
situation, and
Yeah.
it can be a challenge. It really can.
And although he said this a while ago, hello, Mike. My friend Mike Walters is here, saying it, dropping a like and sharing, saying hi and
Yeah,
hi back. And he said that your volume was a little too loud with an echo. I've turned you down and
that's
disconnected
fine.
that on the OBS. So is that all right now, Mike, or whoever's listening? Hopefully somebody's here to tell me. Either way, like,
Yeah, if that's better.
yeah,
It can be hard because my voice is it's a high. Sometimes it's really high pitched. It just depends on what day it is and what we're doing. And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
I
and
know.
it'll pierce
I
right
can
through
be
the.
naturally loud myself.
Uh,
Like my mom once said, like he's gonna preach. If he did became a preacher, he wouldn't need the microphone.
Microphone.
Yeah, I can be at the front and I can make sure people hear me in the back without
Uh,
actually yelling.
oh my goodness! Mine is. I actually have a challenge with that because I'm also a singer and I'm a piano player in our church. And for many years before I got too sick where I really couldn't do it. And I have a voice that can peel paint off the walls. I mean, it's really that old holler singing from like the Appalachians, you know. And I have I don't usually ever sing with a mic, and so I usually go without. So I'm like really hitting that back wall. We had this little video country church, and the way it's set up was from back in the days. They actually curved those walls. They had a sort of a kickoff
Yeah.
to where it would curve to make the sound shell, so it would bounce back in. And I nearly made a lady's head explode one time because I was singing, "Oh, do you know I have no friend like you?" And I was like doing this really country thing, and it was just high pitched, and it was just, she was like literally, "Oh, you gotta stop!" And so I have to be super careful in church because I'm just way too loud all the time,
Yeah.
and it's really hard when you're one of those people that's like woo all the time. I have to reel it in constantly.
Yeah. Well, and this has been great talking, but we should probably try and get onto your book.
Talking about
But
buses and cussing.
yeah, uh, because people have been getting to know you, and that's part of the interview. Get people getting to know whoever I'm bringing on. In this case, the author. Hey, Grant Crosby. Oops, missed the beginning. That's all right, Grant. You can go back and watch a little later if you want. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, but we haven't really got into a lot of stuff. We've just been chatting, getting to know each other a little bit. Well, and the audience getting to know Rebecca. It's all right. You use your name, right, Rebecca?
Yes, yes. Actually, my name's Rebecca. When I started writing, I was like, Rebecca Snow. That sounds like a romance author, and I knew right away some people would see that and they'd be like, "It's gonna be one of those bodice ripper things." And so I was like, I wanted some not hard science fiction, but I wanted some rip roaring. I love Robert E. Howard, and so I was like, maybe Rebecca Snow sounds a little too soft for the thing I'm going for. And so I actually I have my initials are RH, Rebecca Hancock Snow, and I'm actually also a singer under that. And so I was like, RH Snow fits way better under it because you can just pop it right in there in the byline. It's only this long.
Yeah.
And so I was like, but it worked out really well. So I just went ahead and used my initials on it, and so that way people won't think it's just like some sort of mushy romance novel or something. I mean, it's got romance in it, but it's very much an action oriented story. It's a sci-fi western. That's what it is. So
Cool.
and it's a
And this is a novel, right? Not like normally I'm bringing on people that do comic books. You're not doing a comic book. You're doing a novel.
this baby right there.
Cool.
That is the first book. That's the first.
Okay.
This is an entire series. There are 6 books in this series already written. I have already written a book series. It was nominated for Prometheus Awards 3 times, triple nominee. I think I'm the only person that's ever pulled that. I'm not sure, but I believe I'm the only person that's ever been nominated for 3 different books in the same year. And so we got nominated 3 times for that. I didn't make the finals, but I got nominated, so that was really cool. There are
Yeah.
6 more of these babies where they came from, and this is a long-running series. It's actually it's an epic novel series. I wanted something that was Game of Thrones level, but would actually get finished. And so I did. I actually the first series can stand on its own. Even if I dropped dead right now, it would still stand on its own. But the first series is called Watcher of the Damned Watcher, and starts with a man in chains at a prison gate, and ends up with a Texas death match with him fighting for his life in the middle of a rough and tumble town of Purgatory, Texas, out in the middle of the wildlands in a post-apocalyptic dystopian setting where people are trying to live. And we go from there to start the new Texas Revolution. And Watcher of the Damned Wanderer, which is the next series, is coming up, and we're starting off right at the top of the revolution with them escaping from Purgatory. And so I've already written the first book for that one. So this is the 7th book in the series for the first part of the second series, and already have half of the second book of the series already written. So the new book the new book is coming out this September. That means like next month. The Fund My Comic is actually just to pay for the formatting cost. I've already got it illustrated, written. I've already got it edited. It is out for formatting right now, and it's just me getting it paid. And people who back it are going to get the ebook first before it goes to publication. They'll have it before it ever hits Amazon. And it will be fully ready to go and funded. We also have it available in hardback as well. Everything's taken care of with it. And the second series is already underway. And we also have our TTRPG that I wrote, which is Watcher of the Damned System and Star, which takes place in the town of Purgatory, Texas, where you have to escape the bouncers, and you're barefoot with nothing but yourself, and you're going to try to go down the dumps and the alleys and everything else and duck these mutant bouncers as you try to escape with your life from the rough and tumble town of Purgatory, Texas. So I have that, and I also have a world book. So actually, this book I already have 9 books. 9? Yeah, since 2020. And I am determined to get this full series done. Being a fan of Robert E. Howard, being a fan of the Conan series, and the fact that it had, I believe, 17. I owned the whole thing at one point. And so, and also Blaine Pardoe, who endorsed me. I'm so excited. Blaine Pardoe loved me. I was happy. And Blaine was very sweet. He said, I asked him, I said, well, do you really think that anybody would read a long series? And he said, yes, because he's got all these, he did BattleTech. He did all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And he's pretty glad.
And there's
huge
Left Behind series. That's 12 books. And then there's and that's just the main thing. Then there's the prequels and a couple, one sequel. So I think there's like 16 in all for that. And then there's the kids version, the kids series, if you want to read that, which is another, like, the kids ones are a lot smaller than the adult ones, obviously, but there's like 40 of those.
Yeah, and well, people are hungry for series, and they got burned by authors that wouldn't finish their series.
Yeah.
And as a result, this is I have a consultant that helps me with my my self-publishing services. So actually, I didn't know what to do because I had these illustrations, because I'm also an illustrator. So I illustrated the book and ended up illustrating like 125 illustrations. So it's kind of like a graphic novel light. It's got a lot of words, but it does have pictures. We've got illustrations of the characters and everything, maps. We've got devices that the characters create or find along the way, and we have all of that stuff in there. And when I did that, I was needing help with it, and she said, write the book first before you. So we really haven't even marketed the book yet. I haven't taken out any advertising. It's been just word of mouth, and we've already had hundreds of books sold.
Oh, that's great.
The full series is it's been very well received. I've had great people that have come on, not just people that are famous like Blaine Pardoe, but just ordinary people who have read the entire series. I mean, from start to finish. Right now, we're looking at 1 million words, and if you're looking for a long-running series that stays true to those characters and doesn't just take you down the road and dump you out, it is going to happen with this series. I'm so dedicated to this. I've already chosen my next writer, that if something happened to me and I died, the next writer is going to pick it up and write it. And it's my son, Daniel J. Snow, who happened to be one of the writers from Anvil Magazine, actually got in on Anvil Magazine, won his Fleet of Thesis. And I asked him, I said, if something happens to me, will you finish this series? I've already got the arc written. It's done.
Oh,
and it's just, yeah, I have it written. There's no question about what's going to happen at the end of the series. I already know. When I wrote the first the first chapter. And it came to me like a vision. It literally did, of a man in chains at a gate, and he's in despair, and his life isn't moving anywhere. He's alone, and him into the ground, and he sees others who have things that he would wishes he could have, but he knows he'll never have it because he's not somebody that's favored.
Yeah.
And his life moves forward from there. A series of events takes place which will determine for him how he's going to go. And he's a hard man. He's addicted to substances. He's not necessarily of his own free will, but he's become addicted and hopeless to a certain extent. And he keeps fighting on. He keeps fighting. He keeps trying. He gets up one more day and he does it again because he knows somewhere around the bend somebody will answer the call. And he does have that moment happen for him. And it takes him on a journey that all of us have to go down, which is to finding our true selves. I know how the book ends. In that moment, when I wrote that chapter, I knew exactly how the book started. I knew what would happen in between, and I knew how it would end. I just had to write it and get it there.
Yeah, you get all the details.
Yeah, I got to get all the details. And so I've been writing it now since I wrote it originally and started in 2018. And it featured a corporation unleashing a virus onto the world that would take down the population based on the Georgia Guidestones, actually. It was supposed to be science fiction. It wasn't supposed to be a documentary, and it ended up being, it was before COVID, and we ended up having this big story about a virus, mutating and killing people and transmutating the population, and what happens when nobody knows who's a woman anymore, things like that. It was just, after I wrote it, I was like, there's so many things that are happening that happened in the book.
Almost prophetic.
Yeah, well, I won't say prophecy because I know that only God brings prophecy, and that's up to Him.
That's why I say almost prophetic.
Yeah, that's right. So it's science. It's not science fiction anymore. It's becoming science fact. And so I thought I got to get this book written. And when I prayed about it, that was all that came to me, is to get the book, get the series done. And so I'm dedicated to it. I've been writing. I wrote it out in 2018. I had it published by 2020. I had all 6 books by 2021.
Oh wow!
Yes, and so they're out. They're fully published. They're on the books now. And I'm not saying that I'm good or great at what I'm not. I've never written a series before. I've written stories, but I've never written something like this. So I will say I believe it's a hand of God. I do feel like God is involved with this. I prayed about this sincerely, and there is a Christian character in the book. Now our main character, Watcher, he is a hard man. Like I said, he is actually a high-functioning sociopath. He became that way because of his past and his circumstances. He's a hard man. And Blaine called him an anti-hero in many ways, but he still has a sense of honor, and he has courage, and he never gives up. He never surrenders.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, a lot of anti-heroes have that sense of honor. You see in like the Punisher, Venom, or Code of Conduct. And Grant says, once I find something good, I want as much as I can get. Laugh out loud. And he just says, so many conspiracy theories have turned out to be true. I preferred to be wrong.
That was one of the reasons the third book in the series is called Babe's Blood. It's because the baby's blood thing, it came up, and I was like, this is just the name of the book. And I was like, I can't even do this anymore. I'm going to have to stop writing because it actually ties in so closely to this theory. I was like, holy cow, y'all need to stop what y'all doing. Whatever it is, you got to stop. That's not supposed to be real. And so, it has a lot of that in there. It's considered by most people to be what we call based in that respect. It's very much freedom-minded. It also, as I said, it does have a very strongly Christian character, and that person is the Watcher's partner, who will become the Watcher's partner. Right. And they don't know each other at the beginning of the book. That's a little bit of a spoiler. In Six Gun Shiva, we meet him. He's the first character you meet. And he is very deeply Christian. And there's a separation between the false church and the true church, between a church that simply is there to spout propaganda and to make people do what they're supposed to do, and the church of the heart, the church of that exists inside the human being, the interaction between the soul and the divine. And this interaction was so important to me that I had to have it in the book. And in fact, some people said, well, you can't do that. You can't talk about God. You can't talk about... So this character has this relationship with Christ, and he's open. He's actually has been a pastor before the world fell apart. He was to be that pastor. and now it's just him and the ruins of his little church, and he still carries that in his heart though, and his influence on the story is enormous.
Okay. Grant wants to know where can I buy the book she showed Watcher. I guess he's talking the first one. I believe it's on Amazon,
Yes,
right?
yes, it is. It's Watcher of the Damned
You
under RH. And in
um
fact, if you look,
uh
I've got a link.
yeah, okay. If you got a link, if you can give that to me, or if you type something in the chat in YouTube, if you can you? I noticed
I
your
can't right now. I only have my phone way up here, so I can't reach it. I'm also partly blind, so it's hard for me to see.
yeah.
Uh, it's way over there. I can see your face and I can see mine. I can't really see anything on the screen. It's flow.page/RH Snow.
Okay.
Flow.page/RH Snow. That takes you to my link page. And on my link page, you'll find my YouTube channel, my Amazon page, my Kindle Vella, where I have the backstory for the Watcher. That's an entire novelette of almost 60,000 words that's on Kindle Vella. It's actually his backstory. So all of those links are flow.page
Flow
slash.
dot page
Mm-hmm.
slash
RH Snow, and it will actually convert to a different link. So if you're typing it in, it will take you to that very quickly.
RH Snow.
Got
Okay. Typed it in. There we go. We'll put that in the chat.
Yeah, it should hyperlink. If it doesn't, you can always take off that link that's right above you when after you type it in. And on there you'll see, and that we should show up now on Amazon. I don't know how throttled we are on Amazon because I'm independent published. That means that they have a tendency to bury it. If you put in Watcher of the Damned, it finally is starting to come up because we have enough readers now, and we have enough reviews that we're actually getting that out there.
yeah.
So, but for a long time, you put in my name, you couldn't find it. You put in Watcher of the Damned, it wouldn't show up. And it's that everything's been just word of mouth. So it's been fantastic because I said for each review you have maybe 10 readers.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic to see it out there, but it's really hard to get those reviews so you can break through the ceiling on it.
Yeah. Like I have another friend. I'm pretty sure you know him because he's over on the John and Quarter a lot. Hunter, Herman P. Hunter,
Oh, yeah,
Jeff Potts.
Hunter's my man.
He's in my chat a fair bit. I've had him on interviewing him before too.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Uh, Grant says, "Sorry, didn't mean to disturb trouble. Don't worry about asking questions. That's partly what this is about. So you
That's
can."
no, that's what it's about.
And he says the link worked because I
Yay!
typed in what you said, grabbed it, put it in the YouTube chat. Now everybody can get it. Of course,
I just
I have the Indiegogo. Go no, no, sorry,
find my
the Fund My Comic pin link. So to get the for them to go
yay.
over and do that one. Um,
Yes, and you'll get the ebook. Anybody who backs it $1 up gets the ebook. And like I said, they get that first. So because it's already been done, that will come out in the next. Even if you don't get the rewards, because we've got the digital art, and I've got wrestling actually shows up in this book, and that people think that's funny, but I grew up with wrestling. I grew up with Mid South and World Class Wrestling, Von Erichs and Terry Funk and all those guys.
yeah,
And it was on every Saturday. It was all we had.
yeah.
And so I watched it. And because of that, I'm a huge fan. So it shows up in the book. And so I actually have created a trading card. It'll be digital for right now. Because it's my first fundraiser ever, I wasn't sure how I would be able to do fulfillment. And because my husband just got really injured, I was like, I'm not going to be able to get physical together, but I can do digital. And so we're going to create a series of digital wrestling trading cards for each of the characters. And the first one is Watcher in his luchador phase, which is Lone Star Libre. The Watcher is actually a huge fan of El Santo, who was one of the greatest of all luchadors.
Printing trading cards, depending on how many, is fairly cheap. Like I got like 700 at one point, and this is Canadian
Oh, really?
dollars.
Wow.
For like under $100. But then again, that was a while ago. I recently printed up like 800 of them, and it was like $160 for 800
Wow.
out.
That's not bad at all.
And that's Canadian, of course. So you probably there it'd be cheaper. And then sending them through the mail, you just put them in a regular envelope and just a postage stamp.
Well, that's what I was hearing, and I was like, "Wow, that sounds interesting." And so I'm putting out the digital, which right now is an exclusive,
Yeah,
and that's for the $25. You get you get
yeah,
three of the posters and the digital trading card and the ebook.
yeah.
And so we have the high res. The posters are all digital also right now. What we're going to probably be doing is we're going to continue to do fundraisers. And what I'll do is I'll make the cards out and release the digital. And then, like you're saying, I would like to do it when we get if I can figure out how to do it, we're going to do the card, and we'll do it as a stretch goal where I'll take the cards and get people's addresses
Yeah.
on it, send it out.
If
Because
you
I think
want any help with that, like figuring out that,
yes,
contact me. I know a
I
little bit. I
will.
don't know a lot. Like I've just
Yeah,
and that's getting them printed for me through local printers.
yeah,
The
that's not bad. That's not bad at all.
and hey, massive. Let's see. Grant Cosby's. How is he? Has he recovered yet? Who recovered
My
yet?
husband, yeah, my husband's a firefighter. He's actually the fire chief. We actually founded the fire department in our area. We're all volunteers out here. This is Texas. Things catch on fire, and my house got on fire one time. Well, my pastures caught on fire. I have 36 acres out here, and I put it out myself because the fire department was far away. And they did get there eventually. Thank God they put it out finally. But I was out there in my Mary Jane's and a skirt flapping on it. And I was like, dude, we need a fire department. So he became the fire chief. And my son is also a paramedic. My daughter's a firefighter. I'm a firefighter. Until I got too sick to do it, I was an EMT. And so my husband was in a wreck. He flipped the truck. They were responding to a call for CPR. It just rained. My husband and my son were both in the vehicle, and the truck rolled several times. We think it may have rolled as many as 7 times, possibly 4 times. He was ejected from the vehicle and flew 30 feet through the air, broke 27 bones, broke his back in several places, stopped breathing. He's still with us by the grace of Jesus Christ. I'm calling that one
Yeah,
out.
for
That's the right.
sure.
That is Jesus Christ. My son actually was the one who climbed out of the car without a scratch. Typically, those kind of rollovers, especially with a truck that's loaded with water, it had 275 gallons of water on the back, rolled right over the top of him. Normally, this results in death. That's just the way it is. You get ejected from these, and a lot of times there's a partial ejection when you have that many rolls,
Yeah.
and just because of the way things are, and all that equipment in here. My son didn't had a scratch on his back. That was it, and he saved his father's life by
Oh,
pulling him out of the mud.
well,
And then
that's
so
definitely
he's
God.
that was Jesus. There's no other way to say it. I saw the power of Christ, and he still nearly died, and he's back. He still has to wear a brace. I'm not able to go to BaseCon this year because he was too sick to go. He had a pulmonary embolism where he stopped breathing and he bled out, and so he had massive trauma injuries, including a broken femur and broken back, broken shoulder, and 2 punctured lungs. It was crazy. And he, I don't know how he's not paralyzed or has permanent brain injury, but he doesn't. But he still has some challenges, and so he couldn't go. And I prayed about it, and he was like, "You need to go. You need to go. Everybody's going to be there. BaseCon I was supposed to be a panelist at BaseCon my second year, and John Carmack from Doom is there, and Blaine Pardoe is going to be there. Harmon Hunter is going to be there. Everybody's there, but there's one person who wasn't going to be there, and that's my husband. And I was like, I'm going to leave no man behind, and I wasn't going to leave him home. And I fought too hard. God fought too hard to keep him alive, and I was like, you know what? This is my blessing right here, and I can always go another time. But there's only one time in my life I'm ever going to get a chance to choose the one I want, and
Yeah.
I choose him, and so I did.
And hey,
So
I think I said hi to Massa, but what's going on? I am talking with Rebecca Snow about, well, getting to know her and trying to talking to her a little bit about her book or books, Watcher of the Dam. She does
that's
have one right now on Indiegogo crowdfunding for
our
the,
on that comic. It's
if I
actually
might
fine.
comment. Oh man, I
Yes.
can't.
No, you're fine. I would do Indiegogo or I would do Kickstarter, except Kickstarter, I believe it was Kickstarter that kicked Hans Schantz off. And he's one of our guys from BaseCon that I met last year. A fantastic guy, wrote Wise of Heart.
Yeah.
And he was in the middle of his crowdfunding, had gotten to $4,000, and they summarily just shut him off. He couldn't even tell his followers. that he had been kicked off the platform because they found out what he wrote about. And he was writing about gender ideology in a really cute story, actually, about the Scopes Monkey trial, but was questioning some of
Oh
the
yeah,
narratives.
I remember that
And so,
book.
yeah, yes. So he took it over to Fund My Comic and got $10,000. And so Fund My Comic picked him up, and I was like, you know what? That first one I'm going to do, I'm going to do it with Fund My Comic because we need our independent creators to be able to have a platform. We need free speech. We need to be able to have the rights that are God given to us, and we have to fight for it. And one of the ways we can fight for it is with our words and our dollars.
Yeah,
And when I have the ability, I didn't want to fund a platform that had silenced one of my friends.
yeah,
So I decided I was going to go with Fund My Comic, and so far I've been very, very happy. Every time I mess something up, because I do it all the time, because
yeah,
I'll be like, I'm going to change this, and then as I mess it up and I get it wrong, and it'll go off for just a minute, they'll answer me right back. I talk to tech, and they talk back to me.
yeah.
That's so
It's
exciting. It's
amazing.
a real person.
And the creator of Fun My Comic has his own YouTube channel that you can go into the chat and talk to him. It's easy
That's
to get
like
a hold of him.
wisdom.
Like I
Yeah.
remember, I had when I was on Indiegogo, I did my technically my second crowdfunding there, and
Yes.
I was having a problem getting the money right. Um,
Yeah.
I
So hard.
successfully funded, but I did it in American dollars, you know.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I knew somebody else who did it that was Canadian, had no problem getting the money, so I figured I'd do it in American dollars. It's just easier. Most of the people buying off me are Americans, so you know. But I had a bad time of
I'm so sorry. It
but
is tough.
but
It's really hard, and I think that sometimes they make things deliberately hard for certain creators. I believe that they make it harder for independent creators. They're supposed to be about indies.
yeah,
Why does it have to be so hard for an independent creator
yeah,
to to have an exchange of currency? And that shouldn't be happening. And so there's nothing against, if y'all are using Indiegogo or Kickstarter, that is fantastic.
yeah,
More power to you.
yeah.
I just really wasn't happy with the way that those two platforms treated the Canadian truckers. I thought it was wrong,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I was not happy with that at
Well,
all. And so
yeah.
I didn't want to give them my money.
Well, it was sort of Indiegogo through their
Mhm.
other one of what is it?
Gifts and Go or
Gift and Go was the second one, the actual Christian one.
GoFundMe. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
actually GoFundMe.
yeah, GoFundMe.
Yeah,
Yeah, what they did, and that was through pressure and all that, through
yeah.
Canadian government lying.
Yes, and so you would literally when you use your dollars and you buy on these platforms or you fund on your platforms, they're getting part of that money. And I didn't want my money to go to oppress somebody.
Yeah,
I didn't want my money to be used to silence another creator.
yeah,
And so I felt, and they could do the same thing to me. And one of the reasons I wrote my own book, and I did it without, I didn't even query at a publisher. I knew they wouldn't touch it. It talks about the difference between men and women. It talks about good and evil and freedom and fighting for freedom, which evidently is no longer a favored ideal. And
yeah,
overthrowing a government. They're overthrowing an oppressive government. They are going to have a revolution. And I knew that this might become very controversial, especially when we're talking about Texas. And so I was like, I don't want to put myself at the mercy of a publisher.
yeah,
Nobody's going to. So I just went straight to indie. And the same thing with platforms and funding. I was like, you know what? I already know they might try to silence it. I'm just going to go ahead and go straight to Fund My
yeah,
Comic because I know that Luke's going to be good to me, and he's not going to tell me I can't talk about that because
yeah.
I believe in freedom and I believe the right to keep and bear arms. I believe in the right for free speech,
Same here.
and evidence can
Yeah,
sort of target you
yeah,
in
yeah,
this society nowadays, which is
yeah.
sad.
But I was gonna say also with the whole Indiegogo thing, it's hard to contact somebody there. Like there's no phone number to call anybody. Um, like I said with my thing, I put in a ticket, and sometimes it would take 4 or 5 days for them to get back to me, and
Yeah,
or they shut down the conversation after uh and the thing wasn't resolved. It's like you're
yeah,
saying wait for this Monday to come in, it doesn't. You're saying to do this, and you can't. And like give me a call, give me a number to call so I can talk to an actual person. So maybe I can go to my bank with you on the phone and say, hey, talk. I'm giving you permission to give information about my stuff.
Yeah, well, that's
Because banks and everywhere doesn't want to give out any information because they don't want to get
I won't.
sued. Yet, like
Yeah,
I'm right there, and even sometimes if you're right there, they don't want to give it out. It's like I'm giving
I
you
know.
permission.
It's so difficult now, and as an artist or as a creator, trying to you get a little bit of money, you think this is great, I'm going to get this thing. Even PayPal makes it very difficult sometimes just to get that money from point A to point B,
Oh yeah.
and so it becomes so hard. And I think that we're going to have to look to each other to try to get those funding platforms up. And I do think that's why I'm so passionate about Fund My Comic. Luke has done a fantastic job with this. It was absolute, just the right time, the right place. And I think that he's going to go far with it. I'm sure that somebody will try to make it more difficult for him later to have this. But right now, we have this opportunity to support each other and to support him. And any way that you can do it, if if y'all are out there and you're thinking about doing a funding campaign, I strongly suggest go look at Fund My Comic. Because even though I'm an author with a book, not necessarily a comic, although I said I envision this as a graphic novel, by the way. I do envision it as a comic. I want it to become one. And it probably will. If I get my way, it's going to be a comic. And I'm already, thinking about who I could get. And I'm going to fundraise first. I'm going to go ahead and get the money first so I can hire the guy.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's something we support each other.
One question with
Yes.
that is, what are you planning on maybe making this into a comic book or I guess graphic novel is a comic book, just a longer one.
Yes, and well, it's huge. It's such a massive series.
Yeah.
It would
Well,
have to be because it's so long. I think that we would have to have the entire series finished first, because then you would have an artist come in and say, "All right, we've already got the script written. It's there. It's right there." Then the question is, how do you take it down to the panels? There's a lot that can be done. The right artist with the right panels does an amazing job. They can cover a chapter in one picture because of the way it is. And
probably not. You probably want to probably take it probably going to take several comics to do it, either graphic novels, because usually one chapters with a book, you probably wouldn't want to reduce it down to one panel. You'd be shoving probably too much in.
Oh no, no, it would be hard. It depends on what's happening in the panel. It's the ability to describe a scene and especially a fight. When we talk about, there's a lot of fist fighting in the book. A lot of fist fighting, a lot of wrestling. And when you're talking about moves, me explaining how to do a Half Nelson grapple or how to do a DDT, the words that it takes to describe that take up almost a chapter. You can literally draw it and show it in one picture.
Yeah.
And so that's one place where and because it's so action oriented, I think it would make a fantastic comic. And actually, it probably would be a serialized comic. We would probably do it in installments, and it would probably be a very long-running series.
Yeah.
My hope would be that it would probably be one that we would actually make through a with one artist, and we would go ahead and plan on having several mid-sized comic books put out about it, or graphic novels that would span the course of the entire series.
Yeah.
And that way it could all be in there. And so we would start at the very beginning, work our way through all the way to the end with the same artist if we could. And that way we would have that feel, and that's a commitment. So we have to make sure we have the money to do that. And so we're going to be raising that. And I fully anticipate that. That was one of the first things that I thought. It was that I really want this to be a graphic novel. I want it to be a comic graphic novel. And we're going to do it. And we're just going to have to get to that point. That, and we're also having the TTRPG at the end. The TTRPG was written with Jonathan Harden, who is a Christian gamer, actually a TTRPG writer.
Okay,
and
what's
he
that stand for? The
that's a tabletop role-playing game.
Oh, okay.
And that means like D&D, except that you're doing the world. Blaine thought it sounded like a fantastic idea. And I was like, I've already got one written, because I was original D&D gamer back in 1978 through 1990, and played extensively, like once a week. And so I loved it. It was a lot of fun. So I wrote my own TTRPG. And the fourth series, there actually is a fourth series, and it is the TTRPG Wildlands, which will take place at the conclusion of the series with the entire world. And it will have bestiaries. It will have I've already made the NPC book, which is the World Guide Purgatory Papers. And there will be others that go with it. And that That way I don't have to ever stop writing the series, because I know when I finish, I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
Because I'll be like, I can't let go of my characters. So one of the
Well,
ways
the
to do
thing
it is
is,
that I try to,
the thing is, you can use the world and create some other
yes.
characters in it,
Oh,
and
absolutely. The
then
world,
you
you
can
know,
have some crossover with characters that you've written, or whatever.
oh yeah, there's one of the things that Blaine and I were talking about is the ability of this world to be a fantastic role playing world. And the
Yeah.
reason why is because of the unique setting. It's the world is still beautiful, unlike Fallout where everything is just absolutely crushed. This world was created by the powers that be, that somehow the earth would heal without mankind in the way. And then they messed it up. They really screwed it up. Foobarred it so bad that nobody could live. But the earth is gorgeous, but it also has these ruins, and it has things that are falling apart and things that are degrading. Life Without Humans, if you've ever watched that series, where things fall apart as nature takes back over. And we have these unnaturally extended lives in some of the characters. So they remember what the world was like before. But now their tech is dead or dying. There is some tech left, but it's dying. When you can't replicate it anymore, you have to create its magic and you have to keep it going.
Yeah.
And so we have a world that actually exists. And one of the things I did is I used certain popular map making stuff that I shall not name here, but literally took their Earth map and was able to transpose it. And these are places that we always say, well, any resemblance to people living or dead or real places is not real. No, this is actually based in the real world. And so I used maps to say, how long is it going to take characters to get from point A to point B? I could actually physically walk this thing. And in fact, we're going to be having, in the future, we will have a geotagging thing where we leave a scavenger hunt trail behind. And people who have read the series will be able to retrace the steps of some of the characters through a real-time experience where they can go in and sign the logbook and digitally discover hidden treasures along the Watcher of the Dam Trail in Central Texas.
Cool. Grant says Life After People or something like that. I enjoyed that series.
Oh, you will love. I'm so excited you watched that. You're gonna love Watcher of the Dam, because I use the world Life After, I think it's Life After Humans, as part of my research when I have a big question about how bridges or infrastructure fails. Trail of Travail takes place actually in a real abandoned coal mine. It's a strip mine. It's not down in the earth. It's a giant series. If you've ever done, I'm a huge fan of working men and women and of trades. My father was a journeyman, concrete, iron worker, everything like that. We have so many of our friends and neighbors that are in the oil and gas industry or mining coal, mining things, and so there's a love of the industry in this, and so many OSHA violations in Trail of Travail. It's unreal. And so we have all this decaying infrastructure, giant crawling machines and things that have just been left, buckets and earth moving equipment and excavators, and the remains of humans left behind. That there's only a few people left, and the rest of them have all passed away and died, some of them right where they were. And so we have this horror element, but we also have this abandoned world of beauty and terror, because you haven't really lived until you've been near an abandoned large excavator. And that thing dropping its bucket on the ground, and it's so dangerous, and there's so many things to be afraid of. Literally, if the wind blows just right, something's going to fall on your head. And so I wanted this to be written in the series where it's not just monsters. It's also bridges falling apart 50 years after the fact, and no one's been there. What happens when you try to cross that bridge? You're going to find out in Six Gun Shiva what happens when you try to cross a bridge that hasn't been worked on in 50 years. And it can be terrifying. And my father was an engineer, so we talked a bunch about stuff like that. And so I wrote that into this book. What happens to your tech? What happens to your infrastructure? Can you keep some of it going? Maybe. What happens when the powers that be decide they didn't want you to have it? And that's one of the big things. The system is designed to crush people. It's designed to create a world where only the elites will have what they wanted, and they messed it up. And so it's a giant FUBAR experience, and it's really fun to watch all the stuff failing and people trying to make it and trying to create systems of sanitation and try to learn how to grow food again. Just being able to make a wheat, tortilla is a major event. If you can't really grow wheat where you are, you can't raise it and chaff it and gather it. And so it's a whole world built around the fact that people are no longer there to do the job. And you have a society trying to rebuild itself. but
Yeah.
without the hope for the future of children or reproduction. And so these guys and gals, that are the few women that are left, are attempting to try and rebuild that world, and it's very tough.
Yeah.
But they'll still try. They're still going to try.
Okay, so one question before we go on to looking at the campaign, which I probably should have asked like near the beginning, is
Yeah.
how did you get into writing? What got you to get into writing? And to well, you said how about how to create why you
Yeah.
created the book, but so just the writing thing.
I've always, I have to write. I cannot not write. I've been writing since I was a little bitty gal. I think first poetry I ever wrote was I was 6 or 7 years old. I still have it. I've been writing poetry for a long time. I'm a very huge fan of classic poetry, of Greek mythologies, of LaRosa's Dictionary of mythologies and folklore from around the world. And I was at one point, I was actually writing under a pseudonym as a political commentator, and wrote articles about that. And so I have experience in writing those things, and writing in snippets, but I had never written anything remotely like writing a novel. I had never even thought about it. So to have this vision of a man chained at a gate without hope, but still trying to make it, still trying to be free, still trying to be himself, in spite of the system that puts him in chains and keeps him down. I had to write it. I couldn't not write it. I literally felt the weight of this story. I had to write this story. And like I said, each time I sit down and write, I pray about what happens here. And I let the characters talk, and they tell me, because it's their journey. But when I'm writing, I get to go along. It's the first time I get to see, for most of it, even though I've written this arc and I know how the story ends, their journey from point A to point B, and all the people that they meet along the way, and the factions and the fighting and the inner dynamics of people just trying to get along and trying to make it. They argue with each other. They have pages sometimes of dialogue, and I'll just be sitting there writing like I'm listening. And they make a great point, but I can't keep that all in there. I mean, that doesn't. They're running for their lives, and they're arguing about whether or not they're going to have the patriarchy. One of the girls just like, patriarchy, down with the patriarchy. And my watcher, he's very much patriarchal kind of guy. He tried to be sensitive. He had sensitivity trainers. He tried to be the right kind of dude. And, you get out in the real world and monsters start trying to tear off your face, and you realize why there's the patriarchy. There is no sense that masculinity is not toxic. People are toxic. And masculinity, when it is properly applied, saves us from toxic people. And so Watcher he's a masculine dude. He's going to do what he's going to do. Rose has been living in a world where the patriarchy was the only thing they really had to fear. As a result, she was raised in a sheltered environment. It feels like that's the only thing that's scary. Being out in the world where he is, she's got some points. She's got some valid points, and he talks to her about it. But when it comes down to it, real life is going to intervene, and it's going to show them both what it is that's necessary to survive. And Rose is not the kind of gal that's going to make it on her own as a fighter. Now, she does know how to fight. Rose is written on my own experience. So you write what you know. I'm a 4'11" woman. I'm a teeny tiny gal. My dad tried to teach me unarmed combat, and I was just, I can't.
Unfortunately, as 4'11" and a woman, you only have so much strength.
I only saw it. He taught me how to use a gun,
Yeah.
and a gun's her equalizer. Rose's equalizer is her gun, and when she doesn't have it, she knows she's at a disadvantage. She knows how to fight to survive. But if she's up against the same opponent over and over again, she's not going to stay up for long unless she escapes. Yeah. And so she does have a limited fighting style. The Watcher knows it. She knows it. And they need each other. She needs him. When it comes down to it, she needs that help to survive, and he needs her. He's not always one to say it. He's not one to say how at first. And I think that his great challenge is in knowing that he can say it and the world's not going to end. And I think that he's not there yet. Not in the story. He's not there. He's not in that touchy-feely place. He is a man that kills things that need killing. And Rose is a person that really believes in life. She's very much a life giver. She's a very motherly person, actually. She's a long backstory on Rose, who she is and what she's been through, and the losses she's felt, and the devastating traumas that she's endured. And she is very strong. She is very much a very passionate person. Her brain writes checks her body can't cash all the time. And she has challenges like everybody else in the book. Everybody in the book has a challenge. That nobody is perfect. Everybody has something they have to deal with. And you'll find out about each character and their own secrets, what they try to hide from the others, what they try to make sure that nobody knows that makes them feel weak or makes them feel like they're alone. That's how we discover these characters. They each have their own unique identity and their own unique failings. They have failings. They each have something that is not the best thing that they should be, and they have to overcome that. But they try. They try hard. And Rose is not the kind of gal that's going to go. She may knock the Watcher down exactly once. In fact, she actually gets to do it twice. And it's because she managed to sneak up on his blind side and get him when he wasn't looking. That is the only way this little girl is going to get him, and she will try. But he's a smart guy, and he's not going to let her most of the time. He's not going to let her. He does have a weakness. She knows what it is. And she knows how to manipulate him to get what she wants. But they both are very much a very balanced couple. There is not this woman that rules the roost. He's and that whole trope about the guy that does this and the woman's just decoration. Now Rose is her own character, and she's very very loud sometimes about it. Has her opinions, and he'll set her straight. If he doesn't think it's right, he tells her he thinks she's wrong, and they're going to fight about it. And if they fight about it, one of them's going to come out on top, and it may be Rose, and it might be the Watcher. And you just have to read to find out who comes out on top, because when it does, it's pretty sexy. It's
Cool, cool. Grant says I've been putting it off because I was worried it might be too complicated for me. I guess buying the book.
Yeah.
uh,
Well, let me say this. I actually did because I knew that everybody had talked to me about George R. R. Martin's, because it's the only thing that's really the same scale. Game of Thrones is probably the closest scale. Dark Tower series is another comp. So I wrote the World Guide. Actually, at the end of the first series, I wrote the World Guide. It has all of the information. It has all of the notes. So if you feel like, hey, I don't remember this part or that part, you go to the World Guide and it's got that information in it. But also in each book, the Watcher keeps extensive notes. And instead of me writing a glossary and just sticking it in the back, the Watcher has his notes, and he actually puts his notes in the back of each book. So he keeps detailed notes, and he writes his own glossaries, and he keeps internal memos that he's discovered from people who tell each other what certain things mean, and training for newbies that they have at the prison camp. He found a training manual that they wrote, and so we have that in the back of each book. So even if you don't buy the World Guide, we have the training manual for newbies at the very end of Watcher of the Dam, Transmutation, Texas. You can just flip to those back pages and read it, and Chief Emmanuel will tell you off while he tells you how to be a newbie at Camp Purgatory. Excuse me, at Camp Reunion. So that's what's going to happen right there at the back of the book. So you'll be able to do that. I made sure that my readers would have the information that they needed so they could read the book and enjoy it without having to keep their own scorecard. I've done it for you. It's in the back of the book.
cool, cool. Now I'm gonna switch over to the campaign here, so
Yay!
things are gonna look. You're probably not gonna see me anymore here.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay,
Oh, I'm on here twice. Yay!
yeah. So Discord browser.
Oh, look at all that. You're making Windows happen, y'all.
Let's see.
This is way too tech for me.
Okay, so now we need to get you back on here.
That's quite all right. You're fine. I'll let you show that off. That's my.
That's okay. There we go. Where is? Okay, why is this not? Oh, I know.
It's all right. Tech is interesting. The book is also very much a cyberpunk and biopunk type book because it deals with a fallen society that had all those things. So it's tech fails in the book, and it fails spectacularly over and over again. So it just fits in with the theme. If it doesn't show up or it doesn't do what it wants to do, there you go. Watcher of the Dam, right there. Oh, look, it's a window! Yay!
And then we'll bring this down. Well, probably because I'm not over on there. Do that, and then do that. Okay. Okay, so Watcher of the
Hey,
Dam. Watcher of the Dam rises again. Epic sci-fi western saga. Fight the system. Join the revolution with the Watcher of the Dam. The new Lone Star Revolution battles hell and high water on the trail of travail.
yeah, you did good. You're like a voice actor, dude.
I've had a lot of practice at that. I like to try and read those tagline type things really dramatically for people.
That's beautiful.
Uh,
Beautiful.
okay, so let's see. So we got see what you got on the campaign. You got a trailer here, which I'll put on in a couple seconds.
Cool.
This is one of the illustrations. I take it.
Yes, that's one of my illustrations, and I did 125 of these for the first series. I try to do each what I think of as a key scene, especially if we have an introduction of a new character. They're very distinctive looking, and I wanted to make sure that they were done right. So I did some character sketches, and my editor was actually like, "Well, these are good enough. Just put them in the book." And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm not an artist. I'm just me." But I love Jack Kirby. I'm a huge Kirby fan. Really big into Batman the animated series and the DC Justice League series. I love those. I was
DC animated universe.
yeah, that's right. And well, also the X-Men. I was into that when it was on also, and the original. And so I love the animation and I love the original artwork, especially for Zeta and Kirby. I think that they're probably two of the biggest influences for me. I loved Frazetta. I thought he was great. And so I all of my stuff that I did, I actually did with a number 2 pencil, pink pearl eraser on paper, and I did 125 of them that way. But as I started to lose my eyesight because I have some eyesight challenges, I have a degenerative eye condition, and so I switched this time to Procreate because I can backlight the the paper or the screen, and I can see it better, so I can get the details. And so it will look a little different. There's some of the brushes have preset patterns, things like that, but the artwork is all mine. It's all, and in fact, for each one, because people have gotten so used to seeing AI and people passing it off as their own, with each illustration, I have put out a time lapse of the drawing so people can see the process I used and how I did it.
Yeah.
And so that's actually available on my YouTube channel. And so, yeah, I illustrate the story, and it's fully illustrated. There's at least one, usually, at the very least, I think there was like 10 to 12 illustrations per book. In A Trail of Travail, there are 30 illustrations, including maps. Yeah, maps and other things.
And those in if you do ever do a physical campaign for the book and all that, they can be made into posters or whatever too. Like this one here that we're looking at right now would probably make a great poster.
You really think so? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you think it's good enough? I was like, I got on my actually, I've got one of my rewards. If you want to look at it, it's on the rewards page when you get finished, and it's it's on Update. And if you look on Update, it's the wrestling card, which is this trading card, and it's the first time I ever really did color, and I've done color, but not like that. And I was like, wow, this is sort of different, and so I'm hoping it's good enough.
Oh yeah. How many pages? Well, obviously every book is different pages, but how many for this book in particular that you're going for here? How many pages?
It's 120,000 words. I do it because of my eyesight. I do it. I don't want people to be overwhelmed. I do my eyesight. I actually make sure I have it in 12 or 14 point font. I think it's 12 point font, and so I can read it. So if I have to, I can read the book. And so it's usually around 300 pages. But if you had it in 8 point font, it would probably be 250, something like that. Okay. So it's a novel though. It's 120,000 words just about.
About how many chapters?
Well, actually, I do my chapters a little different. I don't have the really. I do sections, more like Tolkien did. I took that to heart, and he sort of would just have a section. He didn't really do chapters. He had chunks.
Okay.
And so I like Transmutation Texas only has 4 sections. And we call them chapters. It has like a chapter break, but it's really where the story turns and it moves in a different direction. And then we just sort of stay with it. We have little chapter breaks. You can just, if you're one of those readers that likes to take a break, then you can break at the chapter break, and you can just sit down and pick it back up, and it'll roll right back into the action.
So with this fundraiser, I get money to publish and market the first book and
Yeah,
my second book series book, Trail of Travail,
yes,
and
trail trivia.
maybe even go to cons. Yay, cons is always a good thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
if my husband gets well enough, I'll go to one. Right now, we've decided just to wait. But
yeah,
I think that with his, because of his extent of his injuries, and especially the idea that if he sat too long, he would probably have a stroke.
yeah,
So we have to wait. So we're gonna we're gonna wait
yeah.
for now.
Well,
But I'll save that money. But I'm putting it back into the book.
yeah, for sure. Well, I would suggest, you could probably find some day cons where you only near you, that,
Yeah,
maybe go for 5 or 6 hours. I'm not sure whether you can get away from your husband for that long,
we
because,
probably could. We're gonna
yeah,
try. We're gonna try to do that, and if he can go with me, that would be great. But I think that we're gonna have those. We're going to be trying to go to those this year. So yes, we do have some in mind for that. And they'll be
so,
local. We have a lot of them in
yeah.
Texas.
So, yeah, you get a rip roaring rodeo, rambunctious renegades, and rough riding revolutionaries. Yeah.
There you go.
Say
Thank
that
you for
10
the
times fast.
yeah. I used to add copies. Everything's loaded.
Okay, so for the rewards, for Buck, Watcher of the Dam, uh, Trail of Travail Digital, only for $1. Well, that's really good. Every backer
Every
gets a
backer
book.
gets. Yeah, it's the ebook. It is the digital version, but every backer gets a book. So that I felt like, you know what, that's what I'm going to do for this. This is they get that, and they'll get that copy first. That will be there before Amazon has it. So
Oh,
uh, so many of my backers are actually return readers, and so I was like, hey, you'll get it first if you buy my book. I'll
yeah.
send it to you. And so they were excited. So I was like, yeah.
Uh, I'm not sure whether you got on here, and you might want to talk to Herman about this, the process or
Uh-huh,
whatever, and the cost. Maybe think
uh-huh.
about doing audiobooks, because then you can just sell those
Yeah,
like online too.
yes.
Don't have to worry
Do.
about print it.
I have a podcast. It's actually on my on a podcast. I have mini series. It's an Audible mini series, and it actually was Kindle. I didn't realize Kindle would pick it up as an Audible book. So it actually shows up as the first 9 episodes of Watcher of the Damned is an Audible format, and it does have an original soundtrack. It has music,
Oh,
sound effects, like an old time radio show. And I read it. Because of the challenges we've had this year with the wreck and everything like that, I haven't been able to cut the audio. But one of the things I am going to do is I'm probably going to use the proceeds from this. If I get enough, I will. I'm building my own studio. So I can close the doors, pull the curtains, and I can go ahead and record. And I will be putting out these audiobooks for these because I think that's the next big step.
yeah,
And we're really looking forward to that. It's just that it's a challenge because you have to meet certain requirements. You have to be able to do it all under certain audible rules.
yeah,
But I think with and I'll probably be reading it myself just because I need to save the money for the books. So
yeah,
because
yeah,
there's so many of them, because there's so many books, and we knew that we might have to switch back and forth. And so my when I talked to my editor, Stephen Black is my editor this time around. Art Devet House was for the first series, and I've talked to them, and Art's still going to be helping me with the serial podcast. But he's they were like, yeah, you really need to probably do it yourself because you're going to end up switching artists a lot if they go, if you have that many books, it's hard to keep one artist on for it. So,
yeah,
and we want the same voices and so I know the characters the best. I kind of know how they sound.
yeah.
So it'll
Well,
be me.
I know Hunter's been, well, he's only had 2 books, but I know
Oh, he's awesome.
he's been able to keep the same voiced
Yes.
artist for both, and he's real good.
Oh, his
Hunter's real good. I think Hunter could read them himself too, but
this guy he has is oh my gosh, his reader is fantastic. And that was like a gift from God. The Hunters told me, but I was there when Hunter was going through the process. He was like, I found that guy. I found this guy, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's perfect. So yeah, I would steal him if I could, but I can't afford this guy. He's
yeah,
he's worth the money too. Every one of my Audible people I know out there. Let me tell you right now, the voice actors. Y'all are worth it. Y'all are fantastic. I just can't afford you right now. I got medical bills you wouldn't believe. My
yeah,
husband's now the $1 million man. And so I got to play them. So it's going to be me reading the books.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot. You're in the States. You have to
Yeah,
put a lot of those medical costs out yourself.
true.
Yeah,
But I'm telling you something right now. My husband's alive because of him. That was the best money I've ever spent. It will
yeah,
be.
yeah,
It's I bought a man.
yeah. And then let's see. $5. Your Watcher of the Damned cover art. 6 gun Shiva art cover.
Yeah.
Digital, full digital cover. Okay. So you get the book plus a
Plus one of
dig
the color print. Yes.
a digital
For
color
$5.
print.
Yeah, you'll get that. And you get a digital color print. You can print it out if you like, or just use it as a background.
Yeah, okay. A wallpaper basically for your computer. Okay, and $15. Watcher of the Dam set cover art. Our set of art, 3 high res, full color digital. So that's similar to the one before, but you get 3 pictures instead of one.
Correct. And the ebook. And you get the ebook.
And the ebook, of course.
That's right. Everybody gets the ebook. You get a book, and you get a book, and you get a book. You all get a book.
And then Watcher of the Dam cover art set, Lone Star Libre, deathmatch poster, high art res full color. Okay, so what's that exactly? I take it.
Okay, go over to
I take it. It's all the stuff before plus something else.
yes, it's actually if you go over to update, and this is going to be a digital art once again, since we don't yet have the ability to put out the physical, but we will be making a physical copy, and we're going to look at doing that as maybe a stretch goal. But if you go over to update, it's over right at the top, and it'll show FAQ and update, and I have FAQ questions too. So if you go up there and then go to update and click that, and it'll be right there at the top. There you go. And then if you click where it says more, I don't know why it doesn't show right there, but you have to click the little more down there. Boom.
Oh, okay, so
I want to.
go ahead.
Yeah, I want it to sort of look like a lowrider thing. I wanted to like that airbrush, that airbrush T-shirt look. And so in the story, there's actually a wrestling match that takes place between the Watcher and an executioner. Is what he is. It's actually the executioner, and that's a little bit of a spoiler. And there actually is a whole set of wrestling that takes place as their disguise. They're there under the pretense of that. And the Watcher's persona is Lone Star Libre. And so he's based, of course, on several wrestlers, including David Von Erich, who is the Yellow Rose, if anybody knows the wrestling lore. Also Terry Funk, who notoriously showed up in the ring like this with a pair of blue jeans boots and a big belt buckle.
Yeah.
He has the Texas flag behind him, and the Texas Death Match is a form of wrestling where it's last man standing, and it's been around forever. And so in the story, we actually have the Purgatory Death Match, but it's a real death match, a fight to the death. And so they had this on as a big bill for the crowds, and so I wanted to make something that sort of tied in with Lone Star Libre for that. And I was like, I'm going to make a set of trading cards for the wrestling, because the wrestling continues throughout the book as a part of the storyline of how they go from place to place without being discovered as the Watcher. And it's his persona that he's able to enter the ring and do his stick and tell people about the revolution by being a wrestler. So this is his trading card as Lone Star Libre. And it does have an improved version. It's a higher resolution version. Is the finalized one, and also with some of the art fixed up. I actually loaded that one, but that's the low res version. It's not the finished version yet. So we'll have that finished version out there and available. So I hope that looks okay. Does it look okay? Do you like it?
It looks good for sure.
Oh, thank you.
And so 25.
But that is exclusive. It's never been released before, and that digital will only go out afterwards. It will only show up when we do the full set for the print. And so that will be that. So if you get that one now, that's the only time you're going to be able to get it for now is that point. And that we'll have it on the lower res version, perhaps out there with a watermark. But we're going to keep this one as for our backers for this first fundraiser ever.
Cool. Very good. So anybody got see whether anybody's been saying anything?
I know. Well, so many times on the streams, it's actually coming afterwards. And so we'll see things that we'll have, like on Chester's, he may have like 20 people may see it, while he's on. But then you go back 3 days later and there's like 150 or 200 people that watch it. So it's really crazy. It's like people coming later if you're watching this later, I love you. Please go see it. It's on until September the
Yeah,
1st. Yeah.
and there's several links here for your different books. One for your Amazon page, your
Correct.
YouTube channel. Oh, I didn't know you had a
Yeah.
YouTube channel. Otherwise, I would have put a link in the description because
Oh, thank you.
in the description I did put your Twitter, and of course I have put in the
Yeah.
description as well a link to the Indiegogo page.
Oh, thank you. Yes, actually, I'm a musician, and so I actually had some music out there. I've done recordings with my brother Wayne the Train Hancock, and he was actually in an accident recently too, so I had to help him. But he was on his motorbike. But so when I did that, I actually had a couple of not my own YouTube channel, but another YouTube channel that covered our music. And so I'd already had links to that, and that's how I started off with the YouTube channel. And then we wrote an original soundtrack for the series. I did because I'm a musician, so I couldn't help it. So I was like, "Oh, I'm going to write the music to go with this particular scene," and so we end up having a soundtrack that goes with it, and it actually helps us. And we're going to be using that in the Audible series as well.
Okay, so I'm gonna come back to us here.
Yay!
Okay. Okay, so I need to do a couple. No, just want the Discord. I don't need the camera. Got to come over to the Discord and do our grid thing here.
Yay!
And put on my camera.
Did. I always like watching the little thing go round and round.
Oh, I know. Take that off there. That should do it.
It reminds me of like square dancers. Swing your partner, do see do, round and round you go. There you are.
Okay, so I did that for one reason because I know I have enough to do this. I'm going to choose reward number 1.
No, that is what it's for. That I actually I was going to write about this. I know what that $1 means. That there have been so many times I've wanted to back something, and I'm like, and I feel like, geez, I've only got $1, and that $1 means so much to me when I pledge it. And I'm giving you $1 because I'm giving you everything I've got. It's all I've got left sometimes, and I'll put in that $1. That $1 means so much. It's the saying you want the book. That's why I put the book at the lowest level, because if somebody think that I mean so much to them that they're going to give me that $1 with all of the other things that are out there right now, just food and gasoline and bills are so expensive. If somebody comes and gives me $1, I'm giving you my best in response to that, because I know what that $1 means. I know I'm there right now in my life. And I want you to know how much that means to me. It means everything, that you feel like that I deserve that $1. So you're so sweet. You get a book.
Well,
good job.
I just backed it at the $1.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
I love trying to do that on air for people when I can.
Yeah.
Because
no, I love it. It's to see it and to know it's there, because and so many times when I've given $1, actually you don't really get anything back. You're just like, hey, I want to contribute.
Yeah.
And I'll do it. But that's why I was like, you know what? I'm going to give him the book.
Yeah. And which book is this in the series?
This is number 7. This is the first book.
See, now I got to go buy the other 6.
No, hang on. Yeah, the way I've written these books, that you can pick up and read from this book if you needed to, and you're starting the second series, so you can actually do that. Yeah. And each book is written where it can stand alone. I try to do that. It's part of the series. I mean, it's a continual series. But I wanted to make sure that if somebody picked up a book in the middle of the series, that they felt like they got a great read out of it, and that they don't feel like they're missing something. I always got frustrated back in the days when everybody had to watch the like soap operas, and I never did watch it because I could never catch up. And so I don't want anybody to feel that way. So if you pick up number 7, if you pick up Trail of Travail and you get it and you read it, you're going to still be able to get an experience from Trail of Travail that would, I think you're going to love it. It's an action. It's one of the most action adventure books I've ever read. And I love it. It's very, very intense. And it is focused on what's in front of them right now. So you're not going to get confused or worried about it. So if you get Trail of Travail, you just go ahead and read it. If it makes you excited to find out more, then you go ahead.
Well, they're actually not too badly priced on Amazon here. Like ten
I
bucks,
did that for a reason.
ten
I,
bucks
I
for
did
the
it.
first one. I'm on the Canadian sites, Amazon.ca. Oh no, I'm on .com. Sorry.
Okay. Are you on Kindle or are you on the other one?
No, I'm on Amazon.com.
Are you doing physical or the ebook?
Physical.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say the ebook. Actually, the first one is also 99 cents.
Yeah.
I love my people. Okay, let me tell y'all something. My husband's a pastor and a firefighter and a fire chief. That means that we make our tent. Actually, we make our money, our living. But we're not exactly living in poverty. But I live in a double wide, y'all. If you go to my Substack, I'm living in a trailer. And I know what it means. There are people who dedicate their lives to helping other people, and they don't necessarily make a lot of money, but they still want to read. They still want to do things. When I wrote this series, I said I wasn't going to write it where somebody down the road from me, my neighbors couldn't read it because they couldn't afford to buy the book. So Watcher the Damned always starts off their series at 99 cents. 99 cents will get you the first book in the series on Kindle. And I try to price it to where you can buy that first book special and it will not break your bank. I'm almost giving it away because I want you to get this book in your hands. I believe in this story and I love my readers. I love them so much. I want to do anything to get this book in y'all's hands. So I've had a great response from people. So I want you to get this book. So yeah, I want it to be priced where you can afford it.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at it on Amazon. It's $12 Canadian. I was looking at the .com, not .ca. So it's still a good price. $12. That's for the first one. Second one is still they're all. Second one is like $18. Fifth one says is 14. Three is 15.50. Well, I am rounding it up to the.
Oh, you're right.
It's actually 15.49, but like might as well just say 50. It's easier.
Yeah, I actually like physical books. I love being able to get stuff on Kindle because I can just pop the button and away it goes. But I'm a huge believer in physical books. They're already starting to do this where they're editing books without the author's consent. I don't want that to happen to my books. I love physical books. I'm always going to try to price my physical books where they can be affordable.
Yeah.
And I know that people say, "Oh, you should charge what you can because you're worth it." I am worth it, but these are hard times.
Yeah.
I want the book to be in the hands of my readers, and if it means I'm not going to get a whole lot of money, I'm happy because I'm making some money off of this. But when you trust me with that money, I'm going to make sure you get your money's worth. It's going to be a big old thick tome. Somebody, if you have to defend yourself and you don't have your gun right now, you can just hit them upside the head with that. This book is about freedom, and if you and I can, yeah, I love as far as laissez-faire capitalism, the ability to be able to sell something and be able to get something for it. But by golly, if you read this book, I'm going to make sure that it's priced where you can get it because everybody deserves to be able to read about love and freedom, and that's what that book is about.
Yeah.
Love.
And the other thing I was going to say is, like, yeah, maybe you're not making a lot on one book, but maybe because they're lower price, you'll sell more, which means, you make more in volume than you do in individual sales because sometimes the higher price things, less people buy because they're higher priced.
Well, I started tallying up how many units we'd sold, and I was shocked because we haven't advertised. I haven't advertised. I've had like one campaign that I did on Instagram where it's just like, hey, I've got to go a fundraiser. It's like $1 a day or something, and but I haven't taken out any ads except for I had one finally in Anvil magazine, but that's it. And so we tallied up and it was in the hundreds, and I was like, holy cow! And one of the reasons why is because I have follow-up readers. They came in and they read the first book, and almost all of them bought the rest of the series. And I was just flabbergasted. I was like, this is insane. And people, when that's a commitment of time. It's not just the dollar you spend. When a person says, I want to read every book, but I've been there. I was the one that read every single Robert E. Howard Conan book that he had. I mean, this is 17 of them, y'all, and I read each one. The same thing with Chronicles of Amber. We had, I think, 7 books in that series. I think 5 or 7, I forgot. and read all of them. Jack Vance, I read the entire series of Dying Earth. I'm a series reader, and
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that you guys get it, and they did. They did, and it's just so exciting to me. So if you're out there and you're watching this and you're one of my readers, I love you. I believe in you. You're so amazing. The fact that you loved me enough, that you believed in me enough to buy this book, and then you bought the rest of the series. That's just insane. It's great.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I know over the next few months I will probably try and get them all slowly.
no, that's
uh,
sweet. Actually,
right now, my money is tied up because I'm going to a few cons over the next month and a half. So my money is tied up in traveling.
Rick, I tell you what, because you are my friend, and because you're very, very good at what you do, and you're one of the first ones, and I was there when Canadian Cross first came out, and I will send you the books. I'll send you my ebooks on the whole series,
Oh,
so you
okay,
can
thank
look
you.
at it. Because I know you. I mean, I noticed that people be like, "No, don't send your stuff out for free." You're my friend. I love you, and
Well,
I know, I
I'm
feel like
going
we're
to.
the reader too.
I'm going to reciprocate that too. I will
Like,
send you the digitals of Canadian Shield 1 and 2.
I need that because I missed one of them, so I didn't get that one.
Well,
Yeah, I got stuck. I got
you
no.
purchased Snowdrift 1. You did not get.
Yes,
I don't think you got off the first campaign that I did because I don't think we
I don't
did
think I.
each of them there. So you
Yeah, I
still
think
need
I
Canadian
did.
Shield 1 and 2 to read.
Yay! Finally, I get this story.
Which
Yeah,
is
I
before
win.
Canadian Shield 1 was before Snowdrift.
Yeah. So now I finally get the backstory. So hooray!
Yeah. Well, in Snowdrift 1, you see Canadian Shield in like two panels. Like you see that swirl
Uh,
of red and white in the one panel by the plane. That's a Canadian Shield going by.
oh, really?
And then there's another panel. I think it's down from that.
Uh,
Out the window of the plane, there's a tiny, tiny Canadian Shield.
oh, that's so cute. That actually is reminiscent of. I've forgotten which one of the early Superman when he finally was flying. Because before, the very first Superman, he was just jumping.
Yeah.
I love Superman. I love Superman lore, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things that tickled me the most about Canadian Shield because he reminds me so much of in that way about that story and being the good Canadian, the one that really believes in it, that believes in the Canadian spirit.
Yeah.
Take off to the
And,
great white north. Take off. It's a beauty way to go.
and that scene that you see in Snowdrift actually, so you
Uh,
actually see that scene sort of in the Canadian Shield as well, but more
really?
from his perspective.
Oh yeah.
So he gets woken up in the at the morning by the plane flying overhead, and he just jumps straight up, and that's where you would see him swishing by the plane, and
That's so cool.
you see the conversation between those two, but then
Uh,
you see Canadian Shield outside the plane, just he's floating in the air, so that's why you see the small version from inside the plane out
yeah.
in Snowdrift.
No, that's fantastic. That is fantastic.
Let's see. Yeah, Grant says, I prefer real books too. Also, with indies, I can pass them on when I'm finished. That's awesome.
Yes.
And he says, I was thinking of rereading the Amber Chronicles. And he says, what wins in a fight, Canadian Shield or Canadian Geese? That's hard. Will the Canadian Shield
Yeah,
fight?
almost always Canadian geese. The Canadian Shield, if he gets the drop on them, but because Canadian geese are so, and we're not going to call them evil. They're not evil. They are dedicated. And if they see you first, you're done. They're just
Yeah.
there. They're right there.
Well,
They're going to come after you.
if the Canadian Shield got, I'm not sure whether he'd actually get in a fight with one. He might just fly off, leave them alone. He can fly a little faster than them.
Yeah, he's going to have to be able to leave faster than a Canadian goose. Yeah.
Grant says, "Yeah, hey, yeah, my own perspective of Canada is deeply affected by Bob and Doug McKenzie too."
Yes,
Oh,
I love Dr.
oh, eh?
It was the best. And Rush, the fact that Geddy Lee wrote that for them, and so many people didn't realize that. Later, I was like, no, that is the greatest Rush song of all time. Is Great White North.
Yeah.
It's the best Rush song ever written. And Getty just had his birthday, and that was the thing I posted was Great White North. Everybody's posted like really cool Rush songs, and which by the way, Rush actually got was also nominated for a Prometheus Award for trees because of the description of trees where they all got chopped down, being the equality. So I love Geddy Lee, and that song is just it sounds like angels singing.
Grant asks, is Geddy Lee Canadian? I don't know. Is he?
I believe so. I think he is from Ontario. He shows up for it. He does say, "eh." When he shows up, there actually is. If you look up Great White North and you listen to the whole thing with Geddy talking in the background, and they talk about having him get a toque hat, and they said he didn't have a toque, and so they got him one. But then they said he wasn't from far enough north or something. I think he's from Ontario, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
We should look it up right now.
I'm in Ontario. I was going to say,
Yeah.
Grant says Rush is awesome. Speaking of trees getting torn down, in the first book, Canadian Shield pulls a tree out with its root, by its roots, straight up, and then tosses it into space.
He was born in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Toronto in 1953. So there you go. Geddy Lee
is 1 year younger than my mom. My mom was born in 1952.
I was born in 1962, so there he goes. I'm old. I'm so old. No, there's so many great things about Canada, and I think that's one of the things that really tickled me so much when I saw Canadian Shield, and I was like, I've got to back this. Because if you realize Canada's influence with Superman and that lore background with it, and they don't realize, and to me, Canadian Shield represents that continuation of that spirit.
Yeah.
And if you grew up in a certain age, it was like the Mounties were always this big deal. There's like, of course, Dudley Do Right, which nobody knows who he is anymore. I thought it was great.
I know who he is. Also, another good show with a Mountie is Due South.
Yes, thank you. And so that sort of spirit, when I saw him, the first thing I thought was the Mounties and everything like that. And I was like, this is just such a great project. I'm going to go and back it up. And you came on DNQFE, and I was like, holy cow, it's Canadian Shield. I know this guy. So I forgot what I drew. I drew Canadian. I drew. Yeah. What did I draw for you? Did I draw Snowdrift, or who did I draw?
I forget. Yeah, let's see.
I drew something on paper. I was having a hard time right then because my eyesight was starting to fail. So I don't know if it was any good or not, but I still drew. I drew something.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. Campaign 2. D&Q. Trying to.
But mine would have been over in the draw. It would have been over in the draw along, so it may not have gotten submitted because I was always having mine on draw along.
Yeah, well, I went and probably got everybody's. I thought I got yours because I showed
it was
probably
them off.
If I see Amy's.
Oh yeah, Amy's always the cute one.
Yeah.
I got to do them tomorrow.
Right here. Yeah. You did Bob and Doug McKenzie reading the Canadian Shield.
Oh, that's right. I still got it. Okay, I still got that one. I was trying to.
And that on my website, that is up on my fan art page.
Is it really? I feel famous now.
So if you go to crosscomics.ca and you go to fan art,
oh really?
Right amongst there should be that. And did I color that? I might not have. Probably.
If you did, that'd be so cool. I should probably color it. I was wondering because I looked at that the other day. I was like, what did I do this for? Because I had bought it on there. I was like, what campaign was this? And then I forgot. Oh, it's actually Canadian because it has Canadian Shield on there. They're talking about the comic book in their hands.
Yeah.
They're endorsing Canadian Shield. I hope Bob and Doug don't mind.
Let's see. Clip Studio. Take us off there. You should be able to see. I'm not sure whether you can see that.
I can't see it, but if they can, that's perfectly fine. It's still halfway decent. Yeah, this is me drawing when I have when I'm half blind. Actually, there's Geddy. I got Geddy and actually I took that photo I was looking at a photo online. I didn't trace it. I actually just pulled it up, and it was Geddy Lee. And for those who don't know, we have to do these drawings in like 2 hours or less. And so I pulled up a picture, and there was Getty, and I had Doug and Bob, and they had their toques on, and toques, excuse me, and they had Getty, and I think they gave him one to wear, even though he's from Toronto, he didn't have one. And so they did that. And yeah, they were looking at Canadian Shield instead of a Playboy mag or something. They were looking at Canadian Shield. That's great. Oh, I'm so proud of myself. I can almost recognize them. I hope they're recognizable.
Yeah, I'd say they are.
It's really hard. It's really hard to draw when you're half blind. It's like usually if I'm drawing on paper, I have to get right up here and see it, and then I have to draw like this. And so it's been a challenge. But on the other hand, if I can do it and I have my eyesight start going, then you can do it too. Yay!
Yes. Now we are getting like 10 minutes to 7 my time, which is I think 10 minutes to 6 when you said you have to be taking off. So I
Yeah,
think
you got
we
to start.
yeah, and I get that. I get that for sure. I was something similar today. Well, it's not church, but it was a ministry called the Living Rock. It's for
Oh,
youth in
oh,
Hamilton. It's a
oh,
youth young adult place, but on Tuesdays at no Wednesdays, sorry, at noon they have a thing that they call the gathering. So
oh, that's
I
fun.
used to be involved with it when I was in my youth, but now I'm just
Huh?
like the Living Rock. But they've changed a lot. But I'm going to that. I've been going there for the last couple
That's
months.
so cool. I know
So
they're loving you there. I know they are.
yeah. Oh yeah. So any last thoughts or comments that you want to make to try and get people to go to either Indiegogo or Amazon and buy some of your books?
Well, let me say this: that this book series is very definitely uh, it is a story about freedom, and it is a story about what it means for us to be humans. It has deals with a lot of tough subjects. I believe it's a series for adults. I would say probably no earlier than 15. I think that you have to be old enough to read it. It is written for adults, and it is written about the things that affect all of us right now. The system of the world that we live in today, the corruption and the power and the hunger for control over other human beings, living in a surveillance state, even when you're living in the country or something like that, and our ability for us to fight back and be free as men and women, and to be who we are, and to still be a free people. I wanted this series to reach the people that need to read it. I didn't want to water it down or make it palatable for people that believe that human beings shouldn't fight back or shouldn't try to overcome challenges. This book is not about victimhood, it's about overcoming and becoming so much more. And all of us have those struggles. All of us have a right to fight to be free. And we need to fight to be free. So this book explores that in depth, what it means to wrestle power from the hands of a system that doesn't want you to have it, and to take back your own independence and your own governance, and to possibly win, maybe lose. It's hard to tell sometimes, but it's a struggle from start to finish. But this is our adventure here on this earth in this time. And I think The Watcher of the Dam parallels that adventure. I've been praying about it, and it seems to be a message that resonates very deeply with people right now. And I think that it will continue to resonate deeply as we move forward in a world where they really don't want us to be free, where large corporations have decided that they know better than humans, and that maybe humans don't even deserve to be on this planet. I think we do, and I think that we will overcome and we will be free. And that is the motto of the book. It's written on the back of each one. We will be free. And I hope that Watcher of the Dam will inspire a new generation to find out what it means to be human and what it means to be free.
Cool. And I just want to extend I'm not sure what I was gonna say, but any now that you're in my Discord, I'm not sure whether you're gonna leave the Discord or not. But
And, oh,
I was gonna say, anytime that you see that I'm on air and
yeah,
you want to hop on just to chat or maybe even promote your stuff a little while you're on, feel free to. Like my
That's so sweet.
I,
Thank you. Because it's been really hard with the wreck and everything. We haven't really had a chance to. There was a lot of things that I was involved with that I had to pull
yeah,
back on,
yeah.
and so I'm just now starting again. So it's really helpful because there's times that I really can't do something regularly, but having you here and hey, if I see you, then I'll hop in and just say hi or something. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, so you're more than welcome to. Like usually, whenever I go live, I'm got the Discord open. There's like Mondays usually I have a program at 8 called Monday Night Draw Stream. That one you probably won't be able to see that because I've only got it so the artists can see that are in the
Ah,
because that it's supposed to be just the artist coming on and drawing and talking about whatever that goes for an hour. But other than that, I'm usually in the on-air chat like we are, and you are more than welcome anytime to come on and just
thank you
chit
so
chat.
much.
Um, you
Well,
know, uh,
I really enjoyed it. This has been fantastic. I always love talking to you anyway. I love what you've been doing, and we need these voices, Christians and as human beings. We need to be able to speak our hearts and to create the stories that God gives us. And you're giving creators a platform. So thank you so much, Rick. You've done a fantastic job with it. And I look forward to seeing more about what you're doing, including this great content creation that you're putting out for YouTube and for all of us artists and creators. Thank you
oh,
so much, Bobby Hearts. And I look
yeah,
forward to doing it again.
you're welcome. And Grant said, last thing Grant says is, we all know who wins in the end. Yes,
That's right.
yeah.
And
So
it just wait. It will happen. I'm not going to. I'm not going to crush your spirit
yeah,
because I don't believe in that. I believe in the human ability to
right.
connect with the divine to overcome. So
Yeah. Well, I think he means like Christ, God winning in the
yes,
end, the
that's right.
ultimate end. But with that, I'll say thank you, Rebecca, for coming on and sharing your stuff with us. Thanks for everybody in the chat for coming by. It's
Thank you guys.
been great having everybody here, and we'll see you tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern for After Dark. So bye for now. God bless. Have a great and wonderful day, night, whatever it might be for you. Love you all.